woman speaking up about these things.
I think Miru
You're acting like, oh my god, it's like this crazy feminism. No, it's literally just basic requirements.
You should be a little commonsensical in this.
Commonsensical what?
These boys are going to get scared of you girls the way
they should be scared. That's literally what's happening. Things need to get disrupted before they get fixed. Why are you trying to keep the peace? Don't scare them away. No, they should be getting scared. Like, they are getting scared. That's why there's a male loneliness epidemic. Why do you care about them getting scared? Why is that your responsibility? You're doing the emotional labor for them again. That's literally what you're doing. This is what you teach, like, then I would just have repeated the same exact cycle over again. No, it's true. You haven't opened your mind to, like, the internalized misogyny that you have. No, you're not responsible for how men react to things. You don't need to change your approach because you're scared a man is going to react XYZ way. If they had any ability to take accountability and reflect, then maybe they would think, okay, then let me change something.
You have a point.
Yes, I have a point. This is why this is happening. It's because there's many points.
They would not change overnight. You need to understand. You need to give them some space.
Okay, but me, and all of the other women that I know, we spend a lot of time thinking, journaling, reflecting on our past relationships and choosing to show up in better ways. Yeah, it didn't happen overnight for us either, but we put in the emotional labor and the work to do that. They don't do that. They just wait for some girl to come and fix it. You do that inner work on yourself just like how every other woman has done that inner work on themselves.
They were raised differently. They had parents, fathers are different.
That was the issue. That's literally the issue. The root cause is they were raised differently. Why are we raising our men like that then? That's the issue then. So first of all, you don't tell a woman to be with someone like that in the first place. Second of all, you don't raise your men like that.
You love your mother but don't want to carry the same values as her. You respect your father but doesn't want any of his qualities in your future partner. In Indian families, we are proud of what we inherit. The gold that is saved for your wedding, the recipes written in back of the old notebooks. But there is something that nobody talks about. The guilt when you put yourself first. The anxiety when someone raises their voice. To apologize before you have even done anything wrong. All these were not taught to her, she inherited it.
Growing up in a brown household meant that everything was a gender war. My mum could simply tell me to go wash the dishes and I'll say no, because you're only telling me because I'm a girl. And to an extent it was true, because the little comments that they made, like, oh, you need to learn how to cook, otherwise how are you going to feed your husband? Now if you told me you need to cook so you can take care of yourself, I think things would have been a bit different. As a brown girl, if you're not the oldest sibling, you're cooked. Because as the eldest sibling, you can shape how your little siblings think. You practically raise them, right? However, if a son is the oldest, he's going to be a mummy's boy and he's going to grow up around all these old Indian aunties that are telling him that, yeah, girls should do all the housework. It's okay if you've been chilling at home all day, but your sister comes back from work and she does all the housework. That's okay. Yay. Oh man. And all the adults would validate his behavior. And because I'm younger, I've got no authority. No one's going to listen to me.
Listen, let me tell you something. I grew up with strict parents. I still live with said strict parents. And as a brown woman, it is hard. Let me preface, I will always still respect my parents and love them because they did a lot. I feel like a lot of people don't understand that there's a nuance. When I talk about my strict parents and when I talk about parents, my parents, the people I love, they are perfect. Like, they do so many things perfect. And I love them for that. There are things that they are flawed at. You can have the same conversation. You can do these two things in one conversation because it's true. I love them. But I was not allowed to live for the longest time. Social cues, having friends, hanging out, all of that was barred in my family. We would go to school, come home. I would be out of school by 2:15, in the car by 2:30. My mom was already outside waiting. I didn't know who I still feel like I don't know who I am. I still feel like when it comes to social cues in social settings, I'm still struggling to make a space and make myself feel comfortable. I recently had to learn, like 2025 was so hard for me because I had to literally relearn how to be like a normal person in social settings and kind of just like hold my tongue back in certain ways, because of course the way I talk to my family, I can't talk to everybody else. Anyway, a lot of people are like, how are you doing this? How are you doing TikTok? How are you doing Insta? How do you wear all this jewelry and makeup? It's because I made space for it. It's super scary talking to your parents and telling them you want to do this or that. But I didn't want to be 28 years old, living at home with a curfew, and still not allowed to go out and, I don't know, go hang out with my friends at like 2 p.m. or even at night at 10 p.m. because I'm literally an adult. I didn't want that future for me. And I understand how scary it can be, and that a lot of girls, that is their reality. So I'm not dogging on them in any way, shape, or form. But I'm just saying, like, I had to fight against the grain. And it is super exhausting to fight against the grain all the time. But I realized if I gave up, I was giving up who I was. And it is that deep. It is that deep. For you, if anybody's watching this and they don't understand why I'm being so, oh, she just can't give up social media or anything, like, it's not that. It is that deep. When you are given no freedom in your life, the only freedom you obtain, you can't let go. You can't let go of that. Because the moment you let go of that, they start encroaching on your own freedom more. They start coming in, closing you into a little corner. Sorry, it is that deep. That's just how they grew up. That's just how they learned how to treat their daughters. It's not healthy, but that's just how they learned how to treat them. And a lot of people are like, why don't you just yell at them, talk back to them, stuff like that. I'm like, what is that gonna get? They have come thus far in their lives. And my parents are older. They have come thus far in their lives with the way that they have been raised and the way they have their mindset about raising daughters. They're not going to change now. So I kind of just like, it's just like a seesaw. You kind of gotta teeter on what you want to fight on and what you don't want to fight on. Ignore that I did that motion. But yes, that is a little rant.
Brown women are raised to have no self-autonomy, and as a result, they're easy to control. Just think about it. We're taught to be self-sacrificing. We're taught to be accepting. We're taught to just take what comes and be polite and just obey and listen. We're constantly told to shrink ourselves, to be grateful for breadcrumbs, and to prioritize everyone else but ourselves. This narrative that we are raised on is a scam, because when it comes down to it, being quiet will not protect you. Playing small will not make you safe. And that's when I tell you this one. Putting yourself last will not make them love you more. It won't. You're just disrespecting yourself. The entire time. The entire time. Think about it.
Even though both the children are being raised in the same house, they are living different lives altogether. Brown daughter was raised to accept the bare minimum and call it enough because she was taught that wanting more makes her selfish, and being selfless is always praised in Indian families. When basic freedom is taken away, the permission culture starts. Can I go there? Can I wear this? Can I be friends with her? And the answer is always no or yes, but with strings attached.
I think to keep it peace in between.
Peace for who? Peace for men?
Peace for everyone.
What do you mean peace for everyone?
In a family,
So women have to keep the peace for everyone in a family. That's their task.
they are more capable of keeping the
So
peace.
you agree that we're more emotionally intelligent.
Yeah, for sure. Women are more emotionally intelligent from the beginning.
So why are we expected with that responsibility? Why are we
Okay.
burdened with that
We
responsibility
should not
then?
know. If you have emotional intelligence and you are smart, you are going to make your man work more, keeping him in his place instead of fighting with the equality thing. Like, the providers.
So the smart thing for a woman to do is to keep the peace of the household because that benefits her how?
Her house, her kids, her sanity.
Her sanity. Do you not think she would just be more sane if she just never got involved with that man in the first place?
So if women don't involve with men, what do women do? And then men will just go and do their own thing. Women will do, and there won't be any offspring.
Well, the solution
The
definitely
producing
isn't women
babies,
adjusting.
That is fine if you decide your life like, oh, I don't want to involve with man. And
It's not about not wanting to involve with the man. It's about the pool of men that are out there right now. And it is not my job to be their therapist. It's not my job to be their teacher. It's not my job to be their mother and remother them because their mothers coddled them the same exact way that you coddle these little brown boys.
Understand that their mothers did not train them.
They don't understand the history and the years of oppression that women have faced. It doesn't pertain to them, so they have no reason to educate themselves on that.
I understand men are not emotionally intelligent. Women are.
Why is that they're not emotionally intelligent? It's not that
They
they're
were
not
not
emotionally
trained on it.
They can be trained on it.
They
then.
can be trained on
just
it.
the same way that women were also trained
Yeah,
on
they
it.
can be trained on it. We can start this, and this might take, I don't know, another generation or something. It's not like they cannot be trained on it.
It's that you don't want there to be that gap in history to exist where they're catching up to women and then there's just a decline in these birth rates and there's a decline in marriages. Because that's the generation that I'm in.
Yeah.
And you don't want that for your own daughter. But you're not viewing
I
it on
don't
a
want
bigger
my
scale.
daughter to not to have a family because she's in this mission of making men to, get more emotionally intelligent. They can get it on the side.
On the side?
Yeah, it's a good thing you guys are realizing and bringing this up and having
Oh, but it's not that
conversations.
good because then it results in us not getting married to these coddled men. Then that's not a good thing. It's only a good thing up until the point of the result of actually deciding I'm not going to get married to these guys. Not wanting to be involved with men that are underdeveloped in their emotional capabilities. or that just don't educate themselves. They don't even understand the context of where they come from. They don't understand the history and the years of oppression that women have faced. It doesn't pertain to them, so they have no reason to educate themselves on that.
In Indian households, the son is always right, and the mother, she will dedicate her entire life defending everything he does with a smile on her face. He screams at her, well, he's tired. He disrespects everyone in the house. That's just how he is. But if the daughter raises her voice even once, she is disrespectful or too sensitive. In the end, she is the one destroying the family. It's her responsibility to keep the family together.
Parents need you. I don't like these boundaries. This is selfishness.
Mom, okay, Mom.
No, this is
Okay, please.
selfishness.
Okay, I know,
He
but I
is
get it.
selfish.
Okay.
This is all the kids who are
Mom.
saying that we are going to draw the boundaries from the parents. They are selfish. 100% selfish.
Mom, okay, Aram se. Please. Just that word itself is almost in itself.
Disrespecting.
It's disrespectful and triggering for parents.Maybe for you, or parents, maybe it's just not that word then. But that is still needed. That idea of creating boundaries in some ways is neat. The way you grew up, Mom, where you grew up, the mindset you grew up in, the traditional values and aspects and what you grew up in, we didn't grow up in that.
Because we
have
were not selfish.
Idea of boundaries, it's not about disrespect. It's about 100% respect your parents, right? It's about creating healthy habits that allows for a relationship between son, daughters, and parents to prosper even more. Creating healthy habits for there to be that coexisting in a healthy, loving, nurturing way. And if that means distancing a little or creating certain boundaries to do that, that should be, no, see, look, that word just triggers you. Sorry.
I blocked my parents even though they paid for some of my college and gave me a car because of this reason. Growing up, both of them had uncontrollable anger issues and absolutely no concept of boundaries. It was violent, emotionally abusive, verbally, physically. You get the picture. My mom would make some serious threats over my grades, and she would tell me like my friends would all realize how bad and stupid I am one day and leave me. When I got married, she claimed that my husband would abuse me and realize that I was a burden and leave me. Like throughout my life, she tried to drive a wedge between me and anyone that I cared about. I mean, I was just so tired of my parents constantly criticizing every decision I ever made and denying the abuse just because it happened so long ago. Every time I bring up just the physical abuse, they're like, why are you living in the past? It happened so long ago. I just couldn't pretend anymore that everything was normal because every time I look at them, all I can think of and remember is who they really are. I was afraid to cut contact with them because I was still on their phone contract for some reason. I should have switched that earlier. And my brother still had to be on their insurance. And they still needed to finish signing the car title transfer papers for the car that I've been driving for years. Side note, yes, I'm privileged and I'm extremely grateful for everything I do have. I never asked, begged, or demanded anything from my parents. But despite all these strings attached, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna figure it out. We'll see what happens. I'll get a new car if I need to. So we picked up my brother, told my parents that he's fine, we're going no contact, and they showed up banging at the door. My brother and I hid, and they accused my husband of acting like a kidnapper when there was a bunch of back and forth yelling, and then they finally left. When we opened the door, we found the car title transfer papers magically signed on the ground. And let me tell you, that shit's been sitting on the back burner for so long because I'm afraid to ask them for things. Because they just accuse me of using them for money. I don't need them to pay for these things anymore, and they're the ones who make promises and say they want to give me something, and then when I take it, they accuse me of being demanding and just using them for money. I'm grateful for everything I have, but I really don't want all this shit. I don't want transactional relationships. I just want it to be loved and accepted and have my boundaries respected. Also, I already did a video on the story, but I did want to clarify, add some more details for the people who want to go no contact with their family and they're afraid like it's too messy, they're dependent. Girl, it's messy. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
I think our generation above us, and well, actually 2 generations above us, is because when conversations are so uncomfortable, like love is uncomfortable, dating's uncomfortable, it almost is like we feel like we're doing something wrong. So if they made those conversations comfortable for us, so we can openly, respectfully talk things through, then there's going to be a mutual respect, because then they feel like when they're guiding us, we actually will take it on board. We're going to be like, so if you're telling me, let's say, Sarova, like maybe think a little bit about the family, and I'll be like, oh, why? You're going to have that mutual respect for each other, instead of it being like, you know, you have to hide it, then they say their thing, and then if it doesn't work out, it's like, well, I told you so.
Yeah.
That's the bit we need to get rid of, the I told you so, because you're almost creating that distance now in your household.
You try to say something is hurting you, and somehow the conversation ends with you apologizing for bringing it up. Having strict parents teaches you that love has conditions, and you always feel like something that you have to earn. You're always one wrong move away from being a disappointment. The cruel part of growing up in a brown household is that they tend to control not just what you did, but how you feel on the inside.
My tolerance for Desi parents is at an all-time low. I am beginning to despise Desi parents. And I'm specifically saying Desi because it's all of you. Every single day, I come on this app and there's a new traumatic experience I have by looking at the story, the video, or the set of pictures of a random Pakistani girl, a random Indian girl, a random Bangladeshi girl, a random Sri Lankan girl whose parents have put her through hell. Why? The way you treat your daughters, regardless of religion, regardless of country, okay? Because at the end of the day, borderline, you're all the same, especially when it comes to your daughters. Because your sons could get away with murder. Meanwhile, your loser son is out here having 3 girlfriends and he's cheating on all 3 of these girlfriends with 5 other girls, and that's okay. And most of the time, the parents know. But the daughter wants to move away and she's dead to you? You have got to be kidding me. Genuinely, you have got to be kidding me. Because why did I just watch a girl show a screenshot of a conversation with her dad where her dad is just saying she's dead to him? The way these people throw these words around casually, are you okay? Because I don't think so. Because also, why is it our job to make you feel comfortable after a certain age, to take care of you? Meanwhile, you have put your children through hell and you have put them through the trauma that has now made them into these insecure human beings, or into these human beings who are full of anxiety. Most of the time, it's caused by the parents. And then they'll say, no, we had it worse. Okay, great. Should you then not have learned from the mistakes of your parents and treated your children better? Why did you make it worse? I know generational trauma and all, and you don't believe in therapy, but what the F? And even then, most girls forgive their parents or look over that fact because they're actually intelligent enough to understand that their parents are also living life for the first time and didn't know it better. And they're old now, so what are they going to do? But at the same time, it's like, there's no responsibility of saying, yeah, we did make a mistake in the past. No, they just deny it. Nah, that shit didn't even happen, bro. What are you even talking about? Delusion. And then people say, no, it's different for girls because they're the ones who carry the honor of the family. None of us asked for that fucking honor. I'll be very fucking honest with you. Yes, I'm dropping the F-bomb. Like, I'm sorry, none of us asked for that honor, that imaginary honor that you burden your girls with, that they have to carry themselves differently because life is different for girls than it is for boys. You say that. But that's actually not true. You make it different for us. I also saw another video, was having a conversation with her mom basically saying, no, I want you to get married by the time you're 25 because that's what it was like for me. And I'm like, yeah, but times change, things change. And also saying, no, the guy definitely has to be Muslim and he has to be Pakistani and has to be from this caste, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, girl, that pissed me off so much. And to every Desi girl, I will say this. Number one, don't get married in your early to mid 20s. Just don't do it. Second of all, get an education and drag out that education as far into the future as you can. This is solid advice. I'm not kidding, okay? Why are you supposed to drag out that education? Because for Desi parents, the only excuse to not get married early on is, oh, she's still studying. I know for some parents, that's not even an excuse, but still, okay? Drag it out as long as you can, because the minute you hit your late 20s and early 30s, the drag and pool of Desi boys that you could possibly marry shrinks simply because everybody's looking for a daughter-in-law who's in her early to mid 20s. The minute she hits that late 20, early 30 range, they're like, nah, she's too old. And that gives you the freedom to decide whoever you want to marry and if you would like to marry to begin with. I'm not kidding. And then the few times some girls do go no contact, the hate they get from other people in the community is like, how dare you leave your parents? They did so much for you. To be perfectly honest, a lot of Desi parents should never have had children to begin with. Yeah, because if you see your children as a burden and something you're supposed to get rid of, or someone that's supposed to take care of you when you're old, that's not really a good reason for you to have children, in my opinion. But that's just me.
The part that makes this so complicated is that the people who passed it to you were also victims of it. They suffered and survived and called it strength. But survival without healing is just suffering. And just because of the fear and shame of what will people say, they are willing to transfer the same trauma they carried like a legacy.